Well, Barry Murphy's with us again, and we've done gas. Now we're going to do electricity because, as we said in the first section, your horizons have expanded to deal with the utilities.
Yeah,
and that can be communications as well. But
I'd like to think so, yeah.
Okay, well, we have this situation where gas is coming down, and now electricity is going up, which a lot of people can't get their heads around because that electricity is being produced mostly by the gas turbines.
Yeah,
in the Isle of Man.
yeah.
We have now a new MUA man in government. They swapped again. I mean, which bit do you want to have a go on? I mean, do you think it's completely right or wrong that these increases are coming through?
It's a very difficult situation or scenario to understand because, as you rightly say, the price of wholesale gas is coming down. It has been coming down for a very long time. It is 117 pence per therm today. We had a situation back in the House of Keys in January of this year, where Mr. Tim Johnson, Minister Tim Johnson, the ex-chair of the MUA, had said, and it was recorded in Hansard, that for electricity prices to remain at as they are, soon to change, at 22p per kilowatt hour, they would have to remain at 150 pence per therm, and the price is now well below that, so now it's 117 pence per therm. And all we know is that we have two increases on the way. We have an increase on the way in April, and we have another increase on the way in July.
Well, over 50% now, isn't it? 51, 52,
yeah.
Depends how you calculate it.
Well, it depends how you calculate it. I mean, but if you go back to I mean, this is, I suppose with all these things, you have a start time where you calculate from, but if you go back a little bit before that, you then see the price was lower. So if you go back pre-April 2022, when, by my memory, electricity was coming in around about 16p per kilowatt hour, and gas was around about 7.7p per kilowatt hour. So, if you go back to then you're looking 100% plus. 16 to 32. So it depends when you want to start from. I mean, if you were to calculate it from, say, April, when it goes up to, we have the numbers in here somewhere, when it goes up to, I think it's 18, is it 18p? So what's that?
You've got the towers there, have you?
Yeah, I got them here. Yeah, so we need to put these on for that. Yeah, so 28p. So it's gone up to 28p in April, and then it goes up to 34p. It's even worse than I thought. 34p in July. So I mean, it's as with all these things. I mean, if you have a starting point, eventually, I suppose April will become the starting point, and further down the line, and then you think to yourself, well, it's only gone up 20-30%. But if the further you go back, the increases.
Well, we had a massive hike originally, didn't we? So
yeah,
40%.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I totally get that. But do you think they should have held back on the second tariff increase until they could see a better picture of where the gas was going? I mean, is it dependent on the gas?
Well,
I mean, most of it is, as I say, derived from that, isn't it?
Well, you see, this is the problem. This is the problem we have, isn't it? The problem we have right now is that we're faced with ever-increasing electricity bills. We don't know how long these prices will be for. Gas could be 20p per therm in 3 or 4 months' time, and if it continues to go down and down and down, well, I mean, that's quite possible.
Does anyone regulate the gas? Electricity, sorry, because the gas we talked about having regulated. Do they do their own, or do they? Have
from what I understand, the MUA, they have a board, and obviously they've got their accounting systems. They'll have their own accountants on board, people working out the numbers and the facts and the figures. But the reality is that when it comes to pricing, all we know is that these numbers, these tariffs are presented, from what I understand, to the Council of Ministers, and the Council of Ministers look at them. They will have access to the accounts, and I suppose they look at the accounts and they look at the numbers going forward, and they make a decision based on that.
They have to approve.
Yes. Yeah, and it's difficult. But I mean, if you go back to what we were talking about, gas. There's 2 price reviews every year. There's one in July and there's one in December. With all of this, we don't know how long this is going to last for. All we know is that we've been told that this is what we have to pay, but we've not been told exactly why we must pay this. I guess it's got something to do with this 50 million pounds deficit that's due to run up to the end of the current financial year. But if that is something if that's the reason why, well, then maybe somebody needs to come forward and explain this, because what we have right now is we have a very, very confused public out there. We have people, but like myself, who are very concerned about how we're going to pay this, and then we look down and, we cannot ignore that to charge an electric vehicle after a certain time at night, which I think is 10 o'clock at night or midnight, that's coming in at 24p per kilowatt hour. Whereas everyone else is going to be paying 34p per kilowatt hour, and then you've got the economy, people heating their houses.
Just with that car one, I've looked at it, right? You have to put so much money into the thing. It's like 8 years before you even get back to zero. So it's not as good as it seems, because you've got a lot of things to be put in place, and there's a lot of costs involved in that. There
is costs involved. I mean, I appreciate that, and I understand that. And actually, in fact, I think you might actually have an electric vehicle. But I looked at it.
That's why I know.
Yeah, but ultimately, we have a situation, and we have a scenario where I'm concerned that, not just as a member of the public, how I'm going to pay this electricity bill moving forward. I'm also concerned about businesses. I have a little business which is currently up for sale. It's a little self-catering holiday business, which I've had in business for 4 years. But the reality is, how are we supposed to pay these ongoing bills and these ongoing costs?
Well, let me put this on to you. I mean, it's driving people to put in their own things, presumably solar. Again, I've got solar here, but the MUA aren't paying any more as the price goes up. They're not giving the people who are selling it back to the MUA more money. In fact, they've been reducing it over the years. So,
well, as I understand it, this 9p, and this is, all I have is the statutory notice from July of 2023. Is it not right that they pay 9p sustainable generation? That if you provide money back to the grid, they pay 9p.
It used to be a lot more than that.
Used to be more than and this I don't understand. So they pay 9p and then they sell it back at 34p.
That's what I mean. So you think the people on solar panels will be incentivized to do it because they get a better return. So you're probably better putting it into your electric car or having a battery. I don't know. It's one of these things. I have talked to them about it. I think they're reviewing these tariffs, by the way. So.
Yeah, I mean, you see, I fail to see. So at the minute we've got the telecommunications on the Cura, and we have the gas company on the Cura. And I fail to see right now how somebody somewhere in political power cannot just now look at Manx Utilities and have a think about how the public perceive what's going on right now, the confusion. And
wouldn't it be better to put them all under the regulator?
I think it has to be. I think it has to be. But
so
then
there's more checks and balances.
Yeah, I mean, I think it has to go that way. But of course, it's very difficult, because I would imagine if it was a private company and it was holding the amount of debt that Manx Utilities are holding, I guess it would have gone under a very, very long time ago. So how do you even start to regulate a company that clearly has got serious financial issues? But at the same time, how can we as members of the public in the Isle of Man, how can we be happy about paying these prices, bearing in mind what's happening to the gas wholesale market?
It does seem strange.
So we need transparency.
Also, I did an interview with the Chief Minister the other day, and pointed out, I mean, obviously asking him what the implications are for our inflation rate, because this will seep through. Yeah. And that just affects everybody, because everyone will need more money to pay for everything, won't they?
Yeah, of course.
And everyone anyway in business will have to put their prices just to keep the lights on.
Of course. But the problem is that the prices go up in business. But if people are going to have less money because they have to pay these inflated prices.
It would be good to have some idea if that's the end of it. I know prices will move all the time, but it'd be nice to know if that's it, and also when it'll be reviewed again, I think.
But you see, Paul, that's exactly where the whole thing falls down, isn't it? And that's the crunch point. You see, you've said that, but I have to then say to you my opinion on that. We don't know. All we know is the start date. Yeah. We don't know anything about end games or anything, because there's no transparency anymore with regards to regulation of all of this. If this was Isle of Man Energy, if this was the gas company, we would know that in July and December of every year that there's going to be a price review, okay? And we rely on the experts at Cura to keep the price as it is, to put the price up or to take the price down, hopefully take the price down. But, that's what we put our faith and trust in that. But with electric regulation, we have no idea anymore. We're in here guessing because we don't know. There's no transparency anymore. So what we have here is almost like it seems like a politically regulated electricity service that has become answerable to nobody, but yet everybody is expected to pay. 18 million pounds the MUA has spent on taxpayers' money on smart meters over the last 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
£18 million. I mean, that's insane. Some houses have been built in the last 12 months, 24 months, brand new meters put in, and then them meters will soon be ripped out and replaced by a smart meter. So we spend £18 million on smart meters, and yet we come along, or the MUA come along, and they pile these costs on us.
And we have no self-generation by wind or wave or a major solar panel thing, you know, by the government. Yeah, it's on its way. They tell us in the next couple of years we could be seeing some green numbers in there.
You'd wonder where it's all going to go, wouldn't you? I mean, and this is the thing. So at the minute, you know, we're told that that everything has to change, that we have to decrease and eventually stop our reliance on gas, on fossil fuels to generate electricity. But currently, at the minute, there's no other way, is there?